Warning. This program contains strong language, auditory violence, and mental nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to your uncensored home for all things Warcraft. With your hosts, Berzerker and Navox. This is Unshackled Fury.
How prepatch is missing in action, Garrosh has become an indentured battery, and the meaning of life after death continues to evolve. Welcome to episode 76 of the Unshackled Fury podcast, your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions. I'm your host, Berzerker, and with me as always is the Duracell to my Energizer. He is Navox. Welcome back again, sir.
I just keep going and going and going and going.
Banging away.
Just banging away. We are a month away at the time of us recording. We're a month away.
Yes, sir.
So, where's our freaking pre-patch? I mean,
this is a very apropos question.
Yeah. I'm.
And we're going to explore some of that today. What's going on out there?
Yeah, pre-patch, all that stuff, and 3080 and.
It's
pause caps.
It's been a busy,
like
not busy time.
Jesus. yeah, it has been.
Like what's going on out in the world? So, other than wondering about the status of our pre-patch and looking at some of the other crazy shit we're going to talk about here in a little bit, how have you been since last we were here, and what have you been up to?
Well, I've been really good. I've been playing World of Warcraft, but I've been playing a hunter. I decided I was leveling up. Well, I was leveling up another warrior, and I was.
Are you being blackmailed?
I was getting burnt out. No. I'm not blackmailed.
Well, that's true. You're not playing a mage.
Fuck mages. Seriously, just fuck mages like that. You cannot stand mages. And I'll tell you why I don't like mages real quick. A side note, because people like to know what is your problem with mages. They're just so slippery. When you try to chase them down in PvP, they can tank. They blink away. They're so slippery. I hate them so much. So anyway.
Yeah, and I don't even play PvP.
So
I don't even like them.
You might be in the next expansion if you want some of that sweet loot.
Yeah.
So
we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that later. But so I've been playing a hunter because I wanted to try something different.
All right.
And I was leveling up another warrior, and I was getting burnt out. I've got 4 or 5 of them. I don't know how Dez does 50 of those fucking things, but it's just like, I love playing warriors. They're awesome. I will go back and level my Night Elf warrior just because I want it to do the Night Fae Covenant.
Yeah.
But I started leveling up this hunter, and I am just having a blast. Like, I am having fun again in the game. So I started out in Teldrassil, and I did that, and then it's not the same questing format ever since everything got burnt to the ground. So once you leave the tree, you take a portal now. You don't take a ship. They have a portal set up, and I just went to Stormwind. And then from there, I picked up my quests and went over to Duskwood and started out there. Then went into Stranglethorn Valley. I've not ever cleared out Duskwood before, apparently, so I cleared that zone out. Yeah, I never cleared it all out. So I finished that zone. I'm good. I got the achievement. And
it's too scary for me.
Good.
I went through there one time, and I was like, I'm never coming back here, and I never have.
Well, it's that time. It's fall, so it's that time of year, and we're getting right on top of Hallow's End and Halloween and all that stuff. I love the aesthetics, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to take my hunter over there and do that.
Hang out in Westfall.
I was having a lot of fun. Yeah. There you go. And Then I went to Stranglethorn Vale, and I was running through that. I was in Northern Stranglethorn. Now I'm in Southern Stranglethorn, going to Booty Bay, and then hopefully go over to Kalimdor, and then work my way up that way.
There you go.
Yeah, but I'm having a lot of fun in game again. It's just, I don't know, it's just something different. You know, it's what we do before patch. You just try some new stuff. And I wanted to get use out of my heirlooms because they're going to be worthless to us. You know, I mean,
they're not going to be worthless. They're just going to be
you know what
different.
I mean? You're just not going to get you're not going to get the XP bonus.
Yeah.
So one thing I am doing is while I'm leveling up my hunter is I log into the PTR and then I copy the character over just to see where I'm at level-wise. And it's really strange because you're like, oh, I'm level 34, but I'm really only level 16 on live, and now I'm level 50, and now it's like, so it's neat to see what the level squish looks like. But other than that, not doing a whole heck of a lot. How about you? What have you been up to?
Well, preparing for an impending expansion. I have been preparing my house for the pending weather change and have had almost no time to be doing any things that I want to do, as there has been the continued mass construction on my house, and the painting just finished up, and I just finished putting up all my new exterior lights yesterday. I'm beat to shit, and I'm sunburned, and so I've been preparing mostly to get that done, so then I can prepare for Warcraft. I hate being an adult. This sucks.
Though, you get to pick some fun things being an adult too. Like the stuff we find fun in life now is different than, like you said, you were working on your house and doing exterior lighting, and like with that exterior lighting, you could go get those LED bulbs that I showed you on Amazon and put those in outside so you could change the bulbs from your phone. So you could have like a blue house, a pink house, it's all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, my neighbors would love that shit. It'd be on next door. This asshole put in these new lights, and now they're all pink and blue. Why would somebody do that? Oh.
Why is it on Nextdoor? Why is it that neighbors use Nextdoor as their primary source for complaints? Hey guys, just to let you guys know, my car got broken into. Yeah. Do you think I should call the police? Yeah, fucking call the police. Don't go on Nextdoor and post and ask if you should call the police, people. Just call the police when that happens or something. It's like, that's
because everybody loves to bitch on the forums. You know this. It's just different formats. That's all it is. But funny. We've just about wrapped all that up. As you know, I've been heavily involved in the drama surrounding the new NVIDIA cards.
Oh my God,
and watching all of this unfold about the 3000 series. We had the 3080 launch, which basically was a total shit show of nobody getting any cards, or there were some cards available, but bots bought them all. And then now we have 3090s out, but I don't know that anybody really cares so much about the 3090s because those are like super crazy, expensive, high-performing work machines, basically. But then there's all this new stuff coming out, apparently, about how the board partners, so the people who work on the graphics cards after NVIDIA, whoever makes them, they make their own custom boards, their custom cards. They cheaped out on some of them, and now people's cards aren't even working right.
Yeah.
It's crazy. If I spent $700 on anything, that fucker better work no matter what I do.
And now we know way too much about shit we don't normally take interest in.
I've never heard of a POSCAP before.
POSCAP and MLCC.
I'm like, what is that?
Yeah, the capacitors.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I know now.
Yeah. The good news is EVGA apparently hasn't shipped any with a full 6 POSCAP setup. So there's always EVGA has one, and I think Asus is another company.
So Asus did all 6 the right way. Like they went overboard, which this is why I always go with Asus. I'm going
Asus this time. I guess I'm going to go that way this time. Or wait for EVGA to come out with one where they do it all right. Yep. But I'm not on board for paying money for a product that I then have to underclock. I don't want to buy something and be like, can't wait to enjoy this card. Let me go in there and adjust the voltage on it. Let me underclock it just to play World of Warcraft. And for World of Warcraft, you don't even need to do that. Okay, we're talking about overclocking the card to the point of failure to begin with. But I guess apparently people are playing these games like Call of Duty and stuff like that, and it's just failing on them without doing any sort of adjustment whatsoever. Yep. Hopefully NVIDIA will have these drivers out soon to kind of address some of this issue, but I think all it's doing is underclocking the card by a little bit, but
well, and you seem to have a kind of personal rule, which you've shared with me, which is that you never buy the first generation of anything anyway because of shit just like this.
Yeah, the people will go out and it's twofold. One, like I wanted to get the new Xbox and the new PS5. I never do that. I always wait for Revision 2 to come out. The only real reason now to buy anything like that ahead of time is if you want to just sell it on eBay really quick and make make some money. But it's not worth my time and effort to do that. But yes, I wait for the next revision of card and stuff to come out, and then I'll build the computer around that. So I plan on building that computer. I'll probably live stream it when I do it. So you guys can come along and watch me build the computer live, and I'll wait for the next card to come out. And then
where will you be doing that?
I'll be doing it on Twitch, twitch.tv/NAV_OX.
Bang.
Yeah, so that's where I will be doing that once I get all the parts and stuff. Yeah. So
speaking of building things, have a brief announcement that I wanted to pass on to folks that listen to this show. Warcraft Radio, which is a well-known podcast, they're not just a podcast themselves. There's a whole operation over there with a bunch of shows and various entities and personalities over there as part of their whole group. They have a new directory, which they are officially launching about the same time that this podcast is going to air. This should be Monday the 28th of September. And we just wanted to recognize that they have put a shit ton of work into this thing, and it lists pretty much every active Warcraft, Overwatch, all the Blizzard House folks podcasts in one place. And they've done a great job. It's a really easy to navigate website. They worked with all of us and reached out to all of us that have shows and said, hey, give us your info, check on this, be part of this. And so we really appreciate that they've included us and helped kind of spread the word about our show and every other show by having something like this. So just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention. Go check it out. It's at warcraftradio.com/directory. You can go in and check it out. You can sort by the kind of show that you want to watch based on whether you want a show that's funny or a show that focuses on lore, a little bit of both, or something about PvP or rating. You can sort by categories. There's also a mature language filter or explicit content filter. I don't know why you'd ever turn that off. But maybe you stumbled upon this show. I don't know. And you don't know that we're an explicit show, even though we say it at the beginning. So you should know by now. But go check it out. And then the one favor that you can do for us here, for Berzerker and Navox here at Unshackled Theory, is if you like our show and you come across this directory, please rate our show. We don't like to beg for these kinds of things usually, as folks who listen to the show know, because I'm not thumbs up and like. That's not really our gig. We don't do that. But you know what? Listen, it does help if you go out on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast and rate our show. It also helps here just to help raise some visibility to the show. So if you can, warcraftradio.com/directory, get out there and take a look, rate the show, and appreciate y'all checking that out. And the last thing that I did want to mention here in the intro is that now we've been working on some things in the background, and we're not ready to announce anything yet. But
big.
The next show, for those that don't know, will be our 5-year anniversary show. 5 years that Unshackled Fury has been around. And we've got a big announcement for ourselves that we're going to make during that, right at the top. I'm not even going to wait. I'm not going to bury it. This is not going to be some Ryan Seacrest shit where I make you wait until after the commercial break. We're going to come out. I'll say it right in the intro, and you'll know what's up. So just wanted to plug that for ourselves. But for now, Navox, in the here and now, we have something very important to bring about in our Rage portion of the show. And it's something that we've touched on before, but you know what? It deserves some attention once again. So let's jump into it. Let's rage. So I probably would have done this during our 5-year anniversary show, but it's going to be too late by then, because Brewfest, one of our favorite events, if not our favorite event of the entire year in World of Warcraft, is currently running right now. It started last week and will be running through October 6th. This is an event, if you've never done it, where there's a whole bunch of events set up outside of Ironforge. I'm sure it's somewhere else for the Horde, but I never go there, so I don't know where that is. Duratar, I imagine. Probably, because you can't go to Undercity anymore. And nobody cares about Thunder Bluff, so it must be somewhere out there. Sorry, Hurtful. But you go outside there, and what do you got? Well, you've got all kinds of tents and games and sausage eating, and there's invasions by Dark Iron Dwarves, and you get to go fight them and throw stuff at them, and you can ride on rams, and you get tokens, and you buy funky clothes. It's just fun. The music's fun, and you hear these drunken idiots just saying stuff. But that's the part that I think people keep forgetting about. Is Brewfest requires you to drink. And it's supposed to be done while you are just shithoused on the finest stout that any clan could bring during Brewfest. They give you a variety of them, so that way you can find your pink Elix, that you can go get your Wolpertingers. There's not a lack of supply, but yet, now there remains a scourge in World of Warcraft, and that is the synthbrew goggles. When I first launched this show, this was the very first thing I ever raged about the lunacy of the existence of this thing that allows you to cheat your way into finding your pink Elix. You have to drink. It's Brewfest. It's a rule. And you got these fuckers walking around with synthbrew goggles. And what does Blizzard do? They make it worse. They introduced an XL version. An XL version that won't even let you complete your quests when you use it. It's stupid and pointless and against the entire purpose of Brewfest. I don't approve of this. They need to take this out of the game. It's a terrible lesson to teach the kids that you can just have fun for free. No, you must pay the price for your drinking. Blizzard, remove the synthbrew goggles. Make people enjoy the fine craft beers that are being made all around Azeroth in order to complete these quests. Nothing will ever make me as mad as this item right here.
I'm still surprised Blizzard hasn't trademarked some of their in-game brews and sold them.
They did at one point.
Like local or something.
They had somebody down south that did
They
them.
did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think they made like a Thunder Brew once.
Oh, nice. Nice.
So, but I know that the synthbrew goggles get my hackles up. But do you feel the same way, or are you just like, I need to get a quest done?
No, the one thing, I participated in doing Brewfest last year, and I got the majority of what I wanted to get done then. There's nothing new this year, and I hope everybody is out there enjoying it that enjoys it.
Yes.
But the one thing that always I think of doing is that ram run every single time.
Whip that ram.
And it's whip that ram.
Whip that ram.
It's a lot of fun, and it's nice that these. I will always say that I love these community events, the old school community events in game, because they always do it. It's always seasonal, and it's Oktoberfest, and everywhere you go, I enjoy October festivals and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. But I'm sure those goggles exist for the designated driver and all of us, that
I
don't
suppose
prefer the alcohol. I guess I don't know.
suppose.
Not taking the.
But this game is rated T. Oh. Heard that one before. So let this be my revival of my rant against the synthbrew goggles, and encourage all of you to drink responsibly in World of Warcraft, but enjoy it and drink and do it for real. Don't cheap out. You owe it to yourself. There you go. So we have real news to talk about. In some ways real news, some ways a lack of news. Because there are some things we thought were going to happen by now that haven't. And some things that have happened that we thought would. So why don't we go ahead and jump into our news and talk about all of that. So the last several episodes that we've been here, we keep talking about the pre-patch. Where we think it's going to land, when we think it's going to happen. First we thought, well, September 22nd. That seems to line up right. Gives them some extra time, 5 weeks, bang out the bugs, figure out what we got to figure out. We've always predicated that date on the end of the PvP season. Nothing happened. Came and went.
Right.
Didn't happen. So we thought, okay, well, maybe the 29th. I think that's what we talked about the last time we were here. The 29th, they'll make an announcement right after we drop our last episode. And nothing. Nothing. We haven't seen hide nor hair of an announcement of any kind about when this pre-patch is going to drop. Now we're looking at probably the 6th of October, which is less than 3 weeks from the launch of the expansion, which is the shortest, tied for the shortest pre-patch that we have ever had. So for you, Nav, looking at this, do you think that there is a reason why we're cutting it so close? Is there something to worry about? Is this probably on track with what they wanted to do? Is it because there's a holiday? What do you think is causing this holdup?
I don't think there's a holdup. I just think that they put enough content into the pre-patch where it's not going to take us weeks to get through the content there. So we're going to have the zombie invasion. You're going to gear up your alts for it. And we're going to get thrust into doing Shadowlands on the 26th. I honestly, if anything, I feel like this is just Blizzard. We see it being cut so close, but I feel it's just Blizzard actually flexing on their architecture and how far they've come from patches of yesteryear of Blizzard, not, we can't get stuff out on time. I think they're just going to drop it on us. I think we're going to get an announcement on Tuesday of saying, listen, PvP's ending on the 6th. Brewfest ends on the 6th. I think they're going to push that patch out. That'll give everybody enough time to go in there, play with the barbershop, kill a few zombies, kill a few humans or wherever you are zombies. In Stormwind. Yeah, be a few zombies, and then eventually we'll go do our thing in Shadowlands. Because right now, I mean, I don't know about everybody else out there, but all of my characters are parked right now at the what is it? The Rose? I forget what it's called.
Gilded Rose?
The Gilded Rose, right. And what I did was I lined up all my tunes to the point where I got them the furthest to the door facing out.
Are you outside?
What?
Are you outside the door?
No. There's a table. When you walk in the Gilded Rose, on the left-hand side, there's a little table. You can get sort of close to that table and still target the innkeeper, and then you can bind there. So I'm facing out the door, swivel my camera around. So that's all my tunes are parked there, minus the one that I'm actively playing right now, my hunter.
Which reminds me, it seems like a lot of people are just learning that where you're facing when you save your Hearthstone is actually that's how you reorient yourself when you come back using that Hearth. So if you want to be ready to run out the door, then face the door and then set your Hearthstone. Like I'm shocked that I actually knew this before seemingly a lot of other people, because I've seen so many comments lately about people going, "Oh, I didn't know that." I'm like, "Ha! Even I knew that."
Yeah,
I'm shocked.
Yeah, so yeah, I honestly just feel like this is Blizzard showing us that, hey, look, times have changed. We don't have to gear everybody up for this and say weeks in. We don't have to give you specific dates. We could just say, hey, look, it's coming out next week, and it is. So, and I like that because it's kind of a surprise for us. It's nice that we have sites like MMO Champ and Wowhead and everything that just stays up to date on all the news, and the minute something drops, it's out there and we know about it.
Like
and,
the
and
literal
kind of
second.
Information at the speed of, it's just crazy. But there's still some times where you just want to be surprised, and maybe they'll come out. Maybe we'll get a cinematic next week.
I was about to say, I know we're still waiting.
Hoping we'll get a cinematic, and at the cinematic it'll say boom, pre-patch goes live on the 6th, and then we're off to the races. So,
well, see, what's funny about all this stuff is that, in a way, we as the player base have become like these novice soothsayers where we're reading tea leaves and trying to figure out the game plan because, well, I think Blizzard does a fairly decent job of being communicative with us about their plans and what they're doing and timetables and all that. We still are trying to figure, okay, well, based on the past, this is how long the average pre-patch was. So we think it'll be this week, and then we think it'll be this week. And so, mind you, they have said nothing, which is kind of to the point of this question, is that they haven't told us anything, but here we are going, it has to be the 29th. It has to be the 22nd. It has to be the 6th. It has to be all these things. They haven't said anything, but it's just us as the player base getting ourselves really riled up. Going, I think this is because we're ready. We're hungry. We want to see it, right?
Yep.
But that's what we've become.
Exactly it.
And looking at the cinematics, right, we have the Saurfang cinematics that were released last year, and this is what happened. They surprise us. They just pop up out of the blue, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, these fully realized cinematics are here. Holy shit, this is amazing. We have this one image from PC Gamer, which is the Jailer, which is the cinematic quality image. And so we put all that stuff together and just assume, hey, it has to be a cinematic. We have to be getting this stuff. We have to be seeing these things. And this is how, we talk about hype with the NVIDIA cards. It's kind of the same thing. Like, we generate our own hype. We're our own hype train.
Oh, yeah.
And then when it doesn't happen or it changes, we're like, oh, why is Blizzard doing this thing? And it's like, well, they didn't do anything. It's us. I mean, for the most part, it's us coming up with this stuff and then them just doing their jobs. So I say that full well knowing that we gin up a lot of this energy ourselves. However, I do really hope that we get a full cinematic this week or next week, or even if it's during the pre-patch, like leading up to the expansion, so in the next month. It would be so great to see that. And we always love them. And now we, right or wrong, we kind of have an expectation for them because we got so many in Battle for Azeroth and they were so popular. If you look on World of Warcraft's YouTube page and you sort just by view count, those were fucking popular. Like there's no way around those metrics. So I would think you would keep doing them. And with this group, no offense to the Saurfang fan club, but all the stuff going on in Shadowlands, these are big names, big, famous lore situations. Like, it's ripe for this kind of cinematic treatment. So, we'll see. But for now, I guess our dartboard now says the 6th of October. And
it's got a lot of holes in it.
We're throwing it into the wall, into the ceiling. Yeah. One's stuck in some guy's ass, reaching over the bar. Like, we really blew it.
I mean, I banked on it this week. I'm like, just wait. Just you wait.
You were ready,
3 p.m.
man.
Or 2 p.m. I was like, it's going to happen because it's going to be lunchtime. They're going to go to lunch. They're going to pop it out. And nope, nothing happened. It was quiet. Everybody's like, where's our pre-patch? You said it was going to happen.
You know, there's a line from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, which we quote a lot around in my house, which is, it's a little too raff, meaning it's a little too quiet. And so it's been a little too raff around the official forums, but we're getting close. I mean, obviously we're getting close. Every day is a step closer. The release date, as far as I know, is set in stone. I don't think they'd move it at this point. They always could, but I don't think so. Our collector's editions are supposed to ship in 2 weeks. That I do know.
Oh, wow.
So we're going to be ready. So we haven't gotten that yet. We haven't gotten a cinematic, big cinematic. We haven't seen specifically what the pre-patch date is going to be. But we did get the final Afterlives cinematic, which we haven't yet talked about. This is the Revendreth, Afterlives Revendreth cinematic, where we meet officially for the first time Sire Denathrius, who's sort of the leader out there. And he's giving his, what would you call it? His State of the Union about what's going on out there in Revendreth concerning the anima drought. And you see this really great juxtaposition between essentially him in this very snooty, highfalutin sort of version of this character talking about, everybody's making sacrifices and we're going to figure this out, trying to calm the masses. Meanwhile, you see people that are, giving their little piece of anima to the rest of the wealthy denizens of Revendreth, and you see what the reality is versus what you hear from Denathrius, and it's scary and it's amusing all at the same time. Sampling some of the other shows out there, it seemed like people really liked the voice that was used by Denathrius. I will not try to mimic that here, so I'm sorry, you will not get my interpretation of that. So I could not do it justice. But it was very interesting to see. Clearly, it's not good there. This anima drought, which we've seen its effect all over, with the exception of Maldraxxus. I don't know that we necessarily saw what was going on there. Bastion, just the whole cycle was broken. But certainly in Ardenweald and Revendreth, we're seeing more of the effects that this anima drought is having. Like it's a real problem. But perhaps the greatest star of the entire thing was poor Garrosh, our orc buddy who damn near destroyed everything, who created an alternate timeline that we're still dealing with. He, well, to sort of paraphrase a Reddit meme that I did see, you had his father basically say, "We will never be slaves," and then the bottom image is him going, Garrosh battery go boom.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
What a way to spend an afterlife, huh?
Yeah. Rage battery.
What'd you think of that thing?
I hate the fact to think that I'm going to be forced into going with this crowd, the Venthyr, because just because of that Fury Warrior ability, but we'll see about that.
Don't do it.
I'm not really.
Don't let them shame you.
Big into the whole. I mean, it's like, I don't know. It is just like I don't like the vampire aesthetic there that I'm still getting. But it was a good cinematic. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We know that Denathrius is the last boss in the first raid. We already know that.
Castle
that was told to us
right?
Castle Nathria. It was told to us at BlizzCon last year in the deep dive. So if you went into that, it was already there. We're not spoiling anything for you.
Right.
But yeah, I actually that voice actor was actually. I wish I knew what the name was right off the bat because I thought that was very well done. But for Garrosh, I was really surprised because, man, if they're looking for a redemption story where we have to go in there and be like, we gotta go pull Garrosh out of there because he's giving up too much anima. I don't care. Like
I believe the voice actor you're looking for is Ray Chase.
There we go. Yep, there we go.
Ray Chase.
Awesome. Yeah, that was a good job on his part there. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy all these shorts. I always do. I guess it's Garrosh. So being an alliance, I'm just gonna be here. Like, okay, that's part of the story. We'll run into Garrosh again, and I'm sure Anduin will ask us to go save Garrosh.
Oh God, we have talked about this.
Happen.
We have talked about this, and we're gonna keep talking about it. These potential redemption threads are everywhere, and
they're everywhere.
My God.
They are everywhere.
Like, part of it is like I get it because it's such an easy tease for us to go, oh, it could be Garrosh, oh, it could be Sylvanas, oh, it could be Arthas, but they're not gonna pull all of them. Like, you can't redeem everybody. Like, that would just, even I would be like, oh, hey guys, like, come on, like that's at least not all at once. Like, maybe over time, I don't know how you go back on Sylvanas. I don't know. Anyway, but
I have a theory about that too. But anyway, yes. Yeah.
So one of the big questions that has come up throughout not just the development of Shadowlands, but more so as we've gotten through these cinematics, these Afterlife cinematics, is a question that we posed last time, which is how does death work in Shadowlands? Because it looks like you die, your soul goes to Shadowlands, and then what? Is there a double death? Is there a permadeath? With Garrosh, it also raises a question of which is the real Garrosh, because you have multiple versions of this character. You also have multiple versions of Draka, and so it's who is it that's in the Shadowlands? Because is there just one? Is there like, how does that work? Because there is some big philosophical timey-wimey type questions that are being asked. Garrosh's existence in Revendreth is really front and center on that, because there's multiple versions of Garrosh, but yet you see one who's there and he's clearly paying for his crimes, because the whole, if I understand it correctly, the whole get with Revendreth is if you go there if you are someone who has the ability to become either a greater evil or a greater power of good or something like that. Like you have a shit ton of anima and you've done like a lot. So you either have to be purged or you have to, I don't know. If you don't get purged, you go to the mall. Something like that. Still not quite sure, but clearly he's paying some prices for some war crimes. Great book, by the way. Keeping with these ideas and these questions, there was yet another interview with our buddy Steve Danuser over at lorekeeper.net. It's a pretty long interview. I recommend people read it for themselves. There is a Cliff Notes version on Wowhead if you want. There are spoilers at the bottom of that. There are also spoilers in the same interview, Lorekeeper interview, but I think they're behind a click or something. Nav, you looked at. I didn't look at him. Maybe you looked at him.
Yeah, I looked at them. Of course I did.
And they had to do with Draka. So so when you see that, if you want to see it, check it out. If you don't, whoop, stop reading there. But one of the big questions that we've been asking, that others have been asking, Danuser came right out and answered it. When you die in the Shadowlands, you're really dead. Like, you're gone. Like,
poor Ursoc.
So Ursoc ain't coming back. Sorry, Druids. Y'all are gonna have to find another bear. He's gone.
He's gone.
So for them, as they explain it, it raises the stakes for what's going on in the Shadowlands, because now you have every soul is now imperiled because this entire system is broken.
Right.
And there were even more questions about how a soul is tethered to a body, where necromancy uses the power of death to connect a soul with a body, whereas regular mortal folks, it's the power of life. So life and death, these cosmic powers we've seen, and they talk about the cosmology chart, the cosmic chart that we got in the Chronicles. And so they reference that a lot. So they talked a bit about how different powers can be utilized to tie a soul to a body, and depending on the nature in which they're connected, that can also influence their disposition, which I thought was really interesting. But the big question, and I boy, they're threading a needle with this explanation, but I'm gonna try to explain this or paraphrase this as best I can. The questions about characters like Draka, multiple existences that we know about. Garrosh, multiple existences that we know about. Even Velen, who died in the alternate Draenor, but is still alive with us. How do you resolve that we see some of these characters in the Shadowlands, but yet they're still with us, or whatever the case may be? So the way that Steve Danuser described this is that each character is like a rope. And the rope is made of many strands. And you pull out one of those strands, and that is one of the versions that we have seen of a particular character, and that is the version of their life. That is one reality for them. But you take all of them together, and that is the whole being. That is a whole character.
Right. Yep.
And when looking at this through the lens of the Shadowlands, time and death are not tied together. And so what you're possibly seeing in this sort of explanation is that the character that you see is a conglomerate of these versions that have coalesced over time or are coalescing over time. And that's how you can get different versions from different places at different times all in one, is because Shadowlands is not tied to that same linear space that we're used to. I thought that was actually a pretty decent explanation. It doesn't solve everything, but I get it.
Right.
And if that doesn't make sense the way that I'm saying it, again, I encourage you to read the interview itself, because I think the explanation is pretty good for what it is, because they've definitely painted themselves into some corners, and they're trying to find some ways out. But what did you think about that explanation? Does that suffice for you, or are there lingering questions about how all of this works that you still need answers for?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Because like in the interview, it said one person who's raised maybe because he spoke about the Forsaken and how the Forsaken's life force is actually bound to Azeroth. It's bound to the body in Azeroth, even though they're Forsaken. They went to the Shadowlands and came back. So that soul is still part of that being,
right?
So to say, but. It says one person who was raised may be very much intact. They may essentially be the same person that they were in life. Others are more aggressive, more hateful, or more scornful than they were in life.
Ooh.
Which means two things right off the bat. I think of Kalia Menethil because, or Kalia Menethil and Derek Proudmoore. Both of them they're both raised. They're both Forsaken now. Or they're both,
something.
So are they tied to death? Because, I read that. I'm like, so are they tied to the death force, so to say? Or the same thing with Sylvanas Windrunner. Sylvanas was raised, Sylvanas' soul was taken by Arthas, or so we know. So
Frostmourne, which is from the Maw.
Frostmourne from the Maw.
So what does that look like?
Right. Did it split her soul? Is that like similar to what we saw with, like, we talked about this in the last episode. So all this did was really open it up so that they could take the story in a lot of different directions. And I do see a lot of redemption stories coming out of this. And it's like, as much as I hate it, as much as it's going to be cliche, I can just see these stories, how they're going to, spin, and they're all very interesting. And I think the one thing that came about was because they were somebody on Twitter they're like, so wait, Draka's doing all this in Maldraxxus. Why isn't she with her husband? And because he's there too. And, what? And it's like, okay, it's because she's got a different mission now. It's like there's
putting aside the mortal needs.
Like that's the one thing that we're going to be tied to when we go to Shadowlands, because we're still mortal beings.
That reminds me. Do you think anybody's banging in the Shadowlands?
I think that would be the best place to do that.
Like no repercussions. Like you're already dead. Like you don't have to worry about catching the
blanks all day long.
Yeah. I wonder if Moonguard has their own land over there.
They probably. What is that?
There's like one island that's a Moonguard Lion's Pride Inn that's just hanging out somewhere.
That's what I was gonna. Even the people in Shadowlands are like, we don't know
what's going on over there.
We don't know what's going on over there. They could just exist over there.
We don't monitor that
weird.
channel.
You got dreadlords going, I'm out. That's weird over there.
Went there once. I was not the same when I came back. I don't know what I saw. But yeah, it's interesting to see how they do open up several avenues, right? Like you said. Yeah. One of the other things they talked about is how these cosmic forces work to a greater degree as well. Life, death, light, shadow. And they also mentioned how some of these forces can exert an influence over specific individuals. And this sounds like what could have happened with Uther when he called out to the light, that the light specifically responded to him personally and his soul uniquely. They gave a couple examples of this, but I could also see, like in the Kalia example, that maybe the light somehow intertwined with the death to make that happen. That there's these and we talked about this before a long time ago with Anduin. I still think Anduin is a paladin. I don't think Anduin is a priest. I know what Afraziabi said! But it's these, special one-offs with some of these characters that they do. And again, they've opened up some of these avenues for themselves to explain, it was a special circumstance. Oh, okay. All right. I got you. And in that vein, they also talked about how this expansion really excites them because it also sets up other, quote, doorways to where we may be going in the future. Yeah. What are the doorways do you think they could be talking about?
I immediately go back to that comic book that we saw with old Anduin and Velen on the spaceship.
This is the son of the wolf thing,
right? And that's what I think about the most when it comes to that.
And for people that don't know what you're talking about, what is that? Because we've talked about that before, but
right. So it was a comic book that it was not a comic book, but it was the comic book type artwork that World of Warcraft put out.
It was a
Legion.
digital comic that they did.
It was a digital comic book for Legion, and it was when the final raid came about, Antorus, I think, right? Wasn't that it? And they were talking about
some point
going to defeat the Legion one final time. So it was a side story, and it's like, is this reality? Is it not? Time will tell. It's like, okay, well, it's almost like if you're a Star Trek fan, the Yesterday's Enterprise or something like that from Next Generation, where the Enterprise C comes out of nowhere of a time-space rift, and it's like it's a completely different timeline, and then all these other Enterprise show up, and it's a different, but yeah, it's I'm interested to see what happens with this, because they could take the story anywhere. They could go back, and when we're done with Shadowlands, they could go back and go, well, now you can exit at this point in time in Azeroth, and it's before the way it was before Deathwing scoured the planet and ripped apart the whole place, before there was a sword.
Do you think that they would start fucking around with timelines again after what happened with AU Draenor?
I mean, come on. We saw Draenor was... I still can't wrap my mind around. It's just, it happened. That's it. Now it's part of canon. Okay.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Where's the lore behind this? Because we were sitting in a courtroom, and a dragon aspect opened up what was a snippet in time. It's not really what happened. And then Garrosh twists his freaking mustache and goes, "I'm out of here, guys." Boom, and jumps through, and that's it. Like, they could have just closed it up and been like, he'll tire himself out.
Just like Loki and a Tesseract.
Yeah, exactly. Loki and a Tesseract. That's it. So
just pieced out right through a portal. Look what they did. No, but I'm glad that you bring that one up, because that is also, that digital comic is something that I know that they've addressed it at a BlizzCon somewhere where they said, well, it's, one possibility or something like that. But I just will never let go of that either, where you had this image of an old Anduin, a battle-hardened old king, essentially riding into his last battle. And Velen is there with him, and, now, we're going to take it to him for the last time kind of thing. It's a thread that's still hanging out there. And you're right, with these kinds of doorways, as they said, being set up, I mean, who knows? They said that there are other lands in the Shadowlands. It's just these are the ones that they're focusing on because they have the most purpose. So there's an infinite number of spaces that you could go. So you never know. Shadowlands could come back. Maybe there's some other pocket part of Shadowlands where like, oh, there's some gnarly shit going on. The Moonguard Lion's Pride is going wild, and got to go in there and raid them. Something. It could be anything. But
it could be anything.
There's something specific about Shadowlands that's getting them juiced up for whatever the next expansions are. I think for Steve Danuser to say what he said.
Yeah, I and something else in that grabbed me in that article, and if people aren't going to go out there and read it, I'm just going to spoil it right here. They said Varian is an interesting case that you could, make arguments for him going to a lot of different places that we've seen in Shadowlands.
Yeah.
But they said that his story was told, and there's no sign of him while you're questing or doing any of that stuff. And they said it's not that he won't maybe show up later on, but I was really disappointed by that. I was like, he's one of the main, like, I wanted to see what happened to him. It's like Gary's being tortured. We've already come across a lot of people that we've lost in the game, and I guess if they don't want to shoot it to us like a fire hose, they don't want to give us everything, because then we have nothing really to look forward to, or nothing in a cinematic.
Yeah, they've talked about having to be selective, and it's why it's my hope and prayer, not my guarantee.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe we collect little variant pieces,
That-
put them back together like a legendary.
That is disappointing, though. By God, I'm going to keep holding that flame, though. You never know. Someday, damn it.
Yeah.
Someday. So one of the more technical things about Shadowlands that we have never even touched on yet in this show, switching gears, is the concept that they're bringing regarding loot and something they're calling the Great Vault.
Yes.
So typically in the past, let's talk about raiding in particular, you do your raid, you get your loot, stuff drops, over the years it's happened in various ways, but loot drops, that's where you get your loot from. And then for the last several expansions, we've had some sort of bonus roll situation. You save up a currency of some type, you go get essentially a coin that you can cash in for a bonus roll. You can get so many per week or whatever it was. And that's how you could get extra chances at gear, because they recognize that people are like, we're not getting enough gear out of these things, and I've run this raid 50 times on this one boss and I've never gotten that weapon drop. And so it helped increase your odds. It had a fail-safe protection in it where after a certain point you were guaranteed to get a drop. If you rolled so many coins and didn't get anything, eventually you would. It would increase over time. Well, in Shadowlands, this is changing for raiding in particular. This is going to be new because the system that they're implementing, they're calling it the Great Vault. They haven't had an official preview about this yet, so some of this is still technically, I guess, TBD. All of it, I guess, technically is, but we haven't seen anything official about this yet. So this is going off of what people have seen on PTR. There's an article about this on Wowhead, so you can check it out for more in-depth detail. But what they're doing essentially is they're lifting a system I've never seen, because I don't do it, from Mythic Plus, where by completing certain objectives each week, you earn opportunities for more loot up to a certain point. So I haven't done Mythic Plus before. I know that you know more about this than I do. So can you describe kind of the basics of what the system is as it stands now and how it works?
So right now, when you run a Mythic, Plus, you get a chest on Tuesday, and you open up that chest, and it's a certain item level. The higher the dungeon run you do, the higher the Mythic Plus you do, the higher the item level is. And it is a completely random item. Normally people want to get a Mythic 10 in during the week. I think it was a 10 at the time to get you get a raid. You basically get a piece of raid gear, the same item level as a piece of raid gear. Mm-hmm. And that's what you would do every week. And you would just keep pushing these keys, and the higher you got, the higher the item level got. So you could essentially gear out doing Mythic Plus every week without even setting foot in a raid. Mm-hmm. I was not a fan of this because it felt like I had to keep doing these Mythic Pluses over and over and over again for the gear. I'm actually quite excited for this new Great Vault system. What it is right now is you run a Mythic Plus, you get a piece of gear on Tuesday. That's it. And it's a completely random piece of gear. The game likes to give me shoulders for some reason. When I run a Mythic Plus, I knew that I was going to get shoulders. Mm-hmm. That was it. Mm-hmm. And it was boring, and it was lackluster at best. I didn't enjoy it because I just kept getting shoulders. If I got other pieces of gear, it might have been more exciting. Well, this addresses that situation, because what it does is it gives you basically up to 9 potential options of gear. Wow. So if you run a raid, you could defeat, like for raids, it says you defeat 3 raid bosses, or you defeat 7 raid bosses, or you defeat 10 raid bosses. That'll give you at next Tuesday, what that does is it'll say you just did that in the raid section. You'll have 3 pieces of gear there that you can pick one of. So potentially at the end, like you have the mythic dungeons, it says like complete 1 mythic dungeon a week. Okay, great. I want to just do 1 mythic dungeon, call it a day. Okay, maybe I want to do 4. Okay, well that just added another option on there. And I want to complete 10 mythic dungeons. Well, out of that, it's going to take the highest level of mythic dungeon you did and give you some gear options based on that, as well as PvP. It does the same thing with PvP. So all of these grouping options they're putting into the game. So every Tuesday, depending on what you've participated in, you'll have an option to pick one piece of gear out of what's given to you in this. And I like this idea of this system more and more, because like I said, I don't want to feel like Mythic Plus, I have to go in there and do Mythic Plus. Then I have to go in there and do it again, hoping that, well, my best in slot sword drops from one of these Mythic Plus dungeons, and I got to make sure that I run it enough time so that I get a gem on it, and I got to make sure it Titan forges and shit like that. No
more Titan forging.
No more Titan forging. No more rolls on equipment. I saw a message on the forum, and I'm not trying to go on and on about this, but I just saw a message on the forum. It's like, the intention here is good, but you're making Mythic Plus worthless. In 2 to 3 months, the only reason to ever run Mythic Plus Keystone at this point would be for your weekly reward. I'm like, exactly this. This is good. That's exactly it. So I just want to run this for my weekly reward, because something I didn't like about BFA was, rather than something I wanted to do, it became something I had to do. And this has more of a classic feel to it, as I'm really looking forward to raid this week because I have a chance at an upgrade during my raid. And then I know that if we kill 3 bosses, boom, Tuesday, I have another option next week. That I'm going to get a piece of gear that I can roll on or something like that. I don't know. I'm looking forward to this more and more. I don't want to, the gear hose was turned on to full in BFA. Like, there was just gear shooting out from everywhere. I couldn't keep track of it. Yeah, you couldn't keep track of it. So now it's a little more streamlined. It's a little more choice. You get a little bit more choice, and it still gives you that feel of, well, the best gear comes from raids. So if you want the best gear, jump in and do some raids with your friends. This game's a multiplayer game. It's meant to be played with other people. It was nice that they put a lot of solo options in game. There's still a lot of solo options in game, but I am still on the fence that if you want the best gear in game, just participate in the game, raid, do some of that stuff. So
having the ability to pick and choose, or at least have some options for raiding, we've never had anything like that I can remember, unless you had like a token system where you could pick between maybe a couple of things, but it was not this widespread. I guess the question that I have, because I do like this change, there won't be any more bonus rolls. The bonus rolls are now going away. They had a little post about this. In fact, I think it was a reply to a post in the forums, technically, that it wasn't like a big blue post about this. It was one of the Blizz folks commenting in a forum post, saying rolls are going away because now you are going to have these other opportunities by completing objectives, and there'll be weekly objectives to do, so many kills, or collect so many conquest points, or complete so many mythic dungeons, whatever it is. That's how you're going to be able to accrue these additional opportunities of gear. The question that I have right now, just in terms of thinking of the usefulness and longevity of this, is, do we have a sense of what the loot table looks like? Like, can you only earn, a head, chest, and shoulders or something? Or is it just random and it could be anything across all slots? Do we know?
I think it's just random and it could be anything across all slots. Okay. I think that's it. I think it's just completely random, which is nice.
So random in terms of the entirety of what you may be offered, but you'll at least get a choice amongst those, so it's not like you get locked into, well, that was your one set of shitty boots for the week. Too bad. Those bracers are never coming. Right. Something like that. So yeah, the UI for this looks, it's interesting because it kind of gives you a couple different options. You can see this in the beta. You can also see mock-ups of this on Wowhead, where it's like a little keyhole, and I assume will be opened up, or you'll get some kind of currency, or something will happen to allow you to initiate that choice or give you those options. But this one, I appreciate this because I don't actually have to go out, it seems like right now, and remember to do anything, because that was always the biggest pain in my ass, was remembering every week to go out and buy my extra rolls. And I would
inevitably
I would forget. And the only time I really remembered was when we were at the end. And I'm like, all right, well, the best sword only drops from the end boss, so I got to be ready to make my one fucking roll.
Man, why do we need gold anymore? Just thinking about it. We're in Shadowlands. What do these souls and spirits need to do with our gold?
Well, there are the brokers. The brokers are there. Don't forget about the brokers.
Okay.
The brokers,
okay.
you know, the broker guys. They're there. There's always come on. There's always somebody looking to make a buck. Auction house ain't going nowhere. I'm sure they'll find a way to make an interdimensional portal just for the auction house.
Everybody pays their dues.
That's what they do. So, if you haven't seen this yet, go check it out for yourself. I think this is a really nice addition for those of us that do a consistent activity of one type or another, to be able to just do what you do and earn some extra options. You still have the same intent of what you used to do. It's just kind of in a different format and giving you, again, more options, more customization. I appreciate that. So I think that's a welcome change. Another change. This could be a bit of a sea change when it comes to the gaming industry. So we remember a couple of years ago, Blizzard founder Mike Morhaime essentially retired or left Blizzard. And this came before the layoffs that hit. This came kind of at the swell of a time when people began to ask serious questions about what is the relationship like between Activision and Blizzard and what's going on over there, because all of these folks started to leave. A lot of old names, high-profile names, people were bailing out. Mike Morhaime leaving was a pretty big deal. Didn't sound like he had anything on the horizon. Well, now he does. Mike Morhaime and a good handful of ex-Blizzard employees have started a new studio called Dreamhaven. It's in Irvine. Right now it's almost 30 employees across 3 entities. They have kind of broken up Dreamhaven. It seems to be the umbrella. And then underneath there's kind of separate groups that are working on different projects.
Yeah.
Lots of Blizz people heading over there. Not a surprise, knowing the connections that they've had for such a long time, and the fact that it's in Irvine. But there was a quote. There was a VentureBeat article about this, so if you want to see this, go check it out. VentureBeat, it's just Blizzard co-founder Mike Morhaime launches new gaming endeavor of Dreamhaven. Here's the quote that caught my eye more than anything else. This is from Mike Morhaime. We're almost trying to create a haven for creators who want an environment that is development friendly, values product and player experience over short-term financial pressures. Tell me that is not a shot across the Activision bow.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, unless he posted a photo of himself giving a double bird to Bobby Kotick's LinkedIn profile, I don't know how you could be more direct than that.
Yeah.
So taking a look at this, you got Mike Morhaime, beloved Mike Morhaime, founding a new studio there in Irvine. You know it's going to already have bled old Blizzard folks that have left. Certainly,
of course,
you know it's going to take more.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that this could be the sign that Blizzard could really be done? Like Blizzard as an entity within Activision? Could this lead to something where you have enough people that are like, you know what? I remember the old Blizzard. That seems to be the vibe at this new place. I want to go over there. And over time, you have this sort of attrition out where the Blizzard as we know it recedes enough where Activision just takes them over.
I'm pretty sure that they're absolutely going to have Activision Blizzard's going to bleed development over to this new company. But I don't know. I'd have to, there was a reason why we fell in love with Blizzard games to begin with. StarCraft, Diablo, World of Warcraft. We see what's, we'll see what's in store for us. It's right now they're just getting the band back together again. That's what they're working on. They're just getting the band back together again. We'll see if Metzen jumps on board. He left back in 2016. I don't know if that was the stress of Activision development. I don't know if that had anything to play in that, but we'll see. It's certainly good for competition, absolutely out there in the game industry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I honestly don't know what. Yeah, I'm not even gonna guess. I'll be surprised. It'll be nice to see. It'll be nice to see what comes out of this, because
10 years from now, when they actually release something.
Exactly, they were responsible for some of the most of the games we're playing right now, and we'll see what happens. Right now, I'm happy with World of Warcraft. I don't see them coming out with a World of Warcraft killer at this point in time.
And we have no idea what they're working on. I mean, there's no knowing what it is.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, it's because to your point, it is very early.
It's still early.
We have 27 employees. We're in Irvine. It's very early, but in my mind, when you're as big as Mike Morheim, who I think we calculated at one point, he has to be a billionaire.
Absolutely, yeah.
Running a new company right there in Irvine, where all the Blizz people are. You hear all these people that are upset. If you were in a place that you really loved, all of your executive management level left. New bad management was installed. You loved your job, but the people you worked for sucked. And then you found out that group that left that you loved started doing the same thing that you love and had a position. You would leave. Everybody would leave.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I look at as I go,
right.
There's going to be an emotional pull there, and people are going to start bleeding over. And it may take time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's true. You never know. They may never put anything out. Maybe it all goes to shit. Nothing happens. But boy, when you come out with quotes like that and you're right across the street and you got all those people that everyone loves, ooh, you start to wonder.
Who knows? Maybe Disney will get a good game company, get a good game studio out of them.
Hey.
Who knows? They need it. They need one. So anyway.
These days, I wouldn't be surprised. You mentioned my Lord and Savior, my personal Lord and Savior, Chris Metzen. He, speaking of Metzen, he recently teased an article that came out on MovieWeb about a potential Warcraft 2 movie. That Legendary Films, who put out the first one, may be working on firing up the Warcraft movie machine and getting that back up and running. He claimed he was just sharing, that he didn't have anything to do with this news, which I don't know if I believe, but it was a little bit disappointing because you know how much I love this guy. But if we all recall, Warcraft, the major motion picture, it did not thrill American audiences. It did really well in China and overseas. But here it was not well received, and so they kind of put the kibosh on anything going further. The movie itself altered the lore that we know to some degree. They used a lot of stuff that we knew, but they also changed some of it. So it didn't all go down exactly like we remember. But it stayed fairly true. The orc animation was amazing. And
oh yeah, it was very good.
Oh my god, it was so good. They did a lot of things right. They just, it's hard to sell a video game movie. But, where they left it was essentially where, Garona has killed King Lane, and Lothar's still up and running around. Gul'dan's just been killed in Mak'gora. Or not Mak'gora. I think Lothar just killed him. But Durotan was killed. So Durotan's gone. Draka's been killed. Thrall's out in the wild somewhere, because that's how it ends, is Thrall, baby Moses going down a river. If we were to see more Warcraft films, Nav, from all of the lore that we have seen, all of the stories that you've played through, what do you think Warcraft 2 or future films should be about?
First one should be, we should skip a whole generation of things where we're just with Anduin. Like, we have Anduin, so we've already been through all the past with Arthas and the Wrathgate and all that stuff, and then we're dealing with Anduin at this point, and he's really into horse racing, and he goes off to Pandaria, and he meets up with a Pandaren to learn how to horse drift, and it's just World of Warcraft Pandaria drift. Or something like that. And no. So honestly, I thought about this. Instead of doing a movie, I was really hoping that since Netflix is so big about doing this kind of shit, they would get with Netflix and do a series, because I would love all of the old stories that I would love to have a birth, not a birth of Thrall, but like the stories of Thrall growing up where he did, being raised by slaves, and then definitely tell the story of Arthas, because the novel Arthas is amazing. That alone could be a TV series. Like, they could do a TV series of Arthas and Jaina. Yeah. And, branch out. I just don't want it to be a lot of fan service like it was. Warcraft was fun. It was fun. It was a fun.
I enjoyed it.
It was fun because it was Warcraft, and we're like, oh, this is cool. But in the end, it kind of fell on. You remember Super Mario? It's like, we love Super Mario, and then they came out with a movie. It's like,
well, that was
terrible. It wasn't absolutely terrible, but it was along the same lines of it was cool because it had Warcraft in it and a lot of names that we all knew.
It was Stormwind.
Orcs looked cool.
Yeah.
So, but I just I don't know. More Griffin, more Stormwind, Arthas, Jaina. The characters that we know, that we grew to love, and because it's just like, that's cool. I knew the orcs, and I knew of Anduin Lothar, but and Medivh, but other than that, it's just like, shrug. I don't know any of these. Yeah,
things. It is hard because to your point, there is that line of, what do you do? Is it fan service, or do you try to break it out into a larger world? Because I know for me, and I know people are probably tired of me saying this, if you took Arthas's arc, but you change some things here and there to make it a little more grounded in a way, you could stretch that out over a couple of movies, really.
Oh, absolutely.
Where, maybe your 1/3 point is the culling of Stratholme. Your second point,
that's part 2. That's Empire Strikes Back. The culling of Stratholme.
Yeah, and then part 2 is the Icecrown Citadel era. That kind of thing. You can reach that out, because if people didn't know the story and you have this golden-haired, perfect paladin child, right? And the Light's vaunted justice sort of thing, to use his own line, and then you take him down this path of destruction. Like, it's not totally original, but I think that it can be compelling. It could sell to a wider audience, because the moment you start talking about orcs, I think people just tune out. Like, I hate to say it. I hate to say this.
No, it's true.
But if you don't focus on the human character, the average moviegoer is not going to watch it.
Nope.
And that's because I always think of people like my dad. Like, my dad will watch the dumbest fucking movies on earth. But there is if he sees an orc, he's not gonna turn it on when it's on HBO. He's like, I don't know what this shit is. This is something my son watches. I'm not watching this crap. But if maybe if there's some sword and sorcery action and it's focusing on some humans fighting, he might be more into that.
Right.
And that's sort of the audience that I think of. So if they do it, they're gonna have to be very careful, because it could go to shit real quick. Or take your advice, go the Netflix route, and really wrap yourself in it. Then you can do anything. Make it about orcs.
Yep.
Make it about the Forsaken. Make it about, I don't know, the plight of the gnomes. You can do all kinds of stuff on Netflix. Amazon is eventually going to have this Lord of the Rings series that's going to take place during the Second Age, and that's going to be. I don't care. It could be anything. It's going to be fantastic. I don't give a shit.
Absolutely. Yep.
So when you have an outlet like that, you have a different option. But if it's still legendary, it's still a major motion picture, I think you gotta dumb it down a little bit, to say the least. So maybe we'll get another movie. You never know. I'm always holding out hope. There's a very rich history there in terms of storytelling, and there's got to be a way that you can make that for the masses. So we'll see. Last thing we're going to talk about today. Blizzard did release their official character customization preview. We have talked about this a ton. We are very, very high, as I think most people are, on all of the options that are being added this time. And for us, Nav, we've spent some time on beta, playing around with this. We've seen all the combinations of different things you can do, all the faces, all the haircuts, all the little extra add-ons, all the crazy stuff that you can do. Mainly, this is going to be accomplished in barbershops. So once this all hits, you go be able to go to a barbershop. You can change all your looks. You can change your gender. You can do all of these kinds of things. One, I recommend everybody go out, take a look, spend some time, really make it what you want. This is your avatar after all. But two, Nav, we have looked at this. What are you going to do to your main once it hits live?
I already know what I'm going to do. So they added scars in game.
Yes.
Nav, when I created Navox in EverQuest, he had a scar coming down his eye, and I'm just like, because he was a warrior, and you take damage and you get cut. I'm going to add scars to him. I'll probably also change his hairstyle to a little bit more gray. I like to age the character as I get older, so it's probably going to be a couple things that I do. So,
well, it wouldn't be a show by two warriors who think the same if it wasn't called Unshackled Fury, because that's pretty much what I was thinking about doing. I have slowly aged Berzerker over the years, as I have seen more gray in my own beard. I have also added some along the way, and all of the different facial scarring and aging and all that kind of stuff. It seems like Shadowlands is kind of a good time to do that. Maybe afterwards there'll be a rebirth. Maybe we can de-age to some degree. But with all the options that they're adding, it's true. They're adding not just options for like how a face looks, but you can have tons more eye colors. You can even have a couple of options where one eye is that sort of blank eye, the other eye has color. Eyebrows, hair, face shapes, jewelry.
Makeup. Yeah.
There's so many things that are being added, and my hope is for us sitting here right now looking at all the things we've had in the past versus what we're about to get, it seems like, whoa, we're getting so much. But to me, it also feels like there is still more they can do beyond this, and I'm pretty sure that they will.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
With the inclusivity that they are going to be putting into the game, having skin tones, facial structures of a variety of races, bringing more people in to be able to create characters that they feel more closely represent themselves. To me, it seems like this is the first step, and there's more coming. So, I too probably change the haircut. Probably add a scar. I don't know. We'll see how I come out in the long run. But gonna keep the beard for sure. The length, that may change. But I'm really excited. And so when this hits, just remember, go to your barbershop.
Awesome.
Check it out and see for yourself. All right. Well, I think that'll do it for this episode. Other than this fine program, where can the good people find you on the internet, Navox?
You can find me out there on Twitter and Twitch. I am at NAV_OX.
As for me, you can always find me on Twitter at Berzerker Rage and this show at Unshackled_Fury. Feel free to contact the show with your questions, comments, or otherwise at unshackledfuryshow@gmail.com. And you can find this show wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Stitcher, Spotify, and Pandora. So once again, thank you for listening. Remember to keep your swords wet and your banners high, and we'll see you next time. Farewell.